to Tuckers, listen, when Paddy Pimblett comes out, I'm going to start the "Oh, Paddy the Baddie" chant, right? He goes, yep, no worries, that'll be awesome. So then Paddy's coming out, I look around, Tuckers is nowhere to be seen. No.
Well done, Derek. Derek, that was an odd look. What happened to the big fella? He went down with a simple jab that I don't even think would have floored you, Bally. So he went down super easy, which I... Well. Episode 2 of the Throwing Shade podcast. We are officially back. We have made it to episode 2. We survived launch week. We survived all that came with rolling out episode 1 of the Throwing Shade pod. And Baller, we haven't quite killed each other just yet, which is a really good testament to the both of us, I feel like. But yeah, what a week it's been. It's been huge. Fantastic start, fantastic reception from all our family and friends, and some organic followers that we've picked up so far. But yeah, first and foremost, just a very big thank you to everyone who has tuned into our content so far. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but we've had quite a few hundred listeners now across YouTube, Spotify, to our first episode, which is really cool to see. We've got 180 odd followers, I believe, now on Instagram. We're getting subscribers to YouTube. Slowly but surely, this thing is growing. It's only one episode down, but yeah, super excited about it. Very happy with how everything rolled out from week 1. But the show rolls on. It's a busy time in sport. It's a busy time here in Australia. We are filming today on the 26th of January in Camberwell of Melbourne. The 26th of January, of course, being Australia Day. So, great day for us to get together, boys, spend some time talking a bit of sport, talking a bit of stuff about us as well. But firstly, mate, thanks for all the work that went into episode 1 and the launch. How you feeling about it now that we're into the second episode? What's it feels, bro? How'd you feel it all went last week?
Yes, Tuckers, we're back. Episode 2, very excited. I think obviously we had a few nerves. Maybe we weren't as natural. I was a little bit stiff, maybe it was performing a little bit too much. So I think we're now just trying to relax a little bit, be a bit more natural. But it was so good. I had so many messages from everyone out there. Constructive criticism, a lot of really good well wishes. I think we did all right, and I think we're just going to get better and better. And looking forward to getting into today's big card and going through the Sydney UFC fights.
What was some of the main feedback you were getting, Bally? What did everyone tell you? Did everyone give you a bit of shit, or was everyone complimentary? I know my family and friends were got a little bit of stick from some people saying that I was a bit robotic, but all in all, the feedback that I got was mainly positive. I think it's safe to say we experienced a few hurdles in the filming of episode 1. We had the lights of the studio go out halfway through, which threw a bit of spanner in the works. But yeah, what's the feedback been from your close ones, Bally, on the first episode?
Yeah, a bit like you, Tuckers. Obviously had a little bit of shade thrown towards me, so I appreciate that, all my friends and family. But they told me that it's not a butterfly that spreads its wings; it's a peacock. So that was good. Apparently, I breathed too heavily into the mic, so I'm going to hold my breath for this episode. But a lot of good stuff too. A lot of just it's so good to see you guys having a crack. For your first episode, it was actually really good. Sound was decent. It looked good, which is the main thing we were worried about, looking like an amateur show. Obviously loved all the feedback, but obviously caught plenty of stick for a few things. We're here now, and let's hope it gets a little bit better.
100%, mate. That's a classic. But look, I know you got a big group of lad mates. You were telling me about a bit of a funny story that some of your mates stitched you up this week, which we love that shit here on the Throwing Shade, and everyone knows already that I'm giving you a lot of shit through these episodes. But give me that funny story you told me before, because it's a cracker.
Tucker bags, I just got absolutely stitched up. So we're at the tennis, Australian Open, it's packed, everyone's having a great time. Anyway, I'm having a few beers, and one of my mates, let's just say, he's had a few too many, and this guy's notorious for, being a bit of a disaster when he's had a few too many. Anyway, I'm just minding my own business, having a chat, and then, all of a sudden, this guy goes over, he starts chatting to these girls, and before I know it, these two two gorgeous girls are literally right next to me, starting to chat, which happy days, you know. So I'm having a chat, blah, 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 having a good time. Anyway, I decide that, I'm going to go get a drink. So do you girls want a drink? All right, I'll go grab a drink. Come on back and, we start chatting again. And then all of a sudden she goes to me, oh, so yeah, tell me a little bit more about like your hobbies. Like, what are you into? I'm thinking, oh, that's a bit of an interesting question. I'll go with it. So I'm like, I've got a sausage dog, love footy, played sport, like to go to the gym. And I just started this new podcast. So, it's really early, but and she turns to me and she goes, actually, my friend told me about this podcast I should listen to called the Throwing Shade podcast. And so I lit up like a fucking Christmas tree, getting all excited, thinking these gorgeous girls know what our bloody show is. And I start going into it, and then I just clicked, and I look behind me, and what's happening? The boys are just pissing themselves. They clearly, when I was gone, told her to tell her about the podcast. So I was a little bit flat. I probably should have seen it coming. So yeah, it was a fair stitch up. But yeah, it is what it is.
Bloody love that, Bully. Bloody love it. But hey, if nothing else, the boys are spreading the word of the pod, which we love that, and taking the piss out of you at the same time. So bravo to those fellas. But look, the reception's been great. Like I touched on, we've got family and friends clearly that are following us, but I can see organic followers coming through as well. And I'm starting to see some of the data from YouTube Studio and the background of Spotify. Even just, we dropped that episode, I think it was on Wednesday afternoon, and in a few minutes and a few hours, we're starting to get comments, we're getting listens. I'm starting to see that there's non-followers that are listening to our content. We're getting YouTube comments like, love the work, boys. Absolutely delightful to see the first official bit of shade being thrown in Bully's direction. I'm here for it. Then we got, I'm excited to see more episodes. That one was from Aaron Ball-Y5Z. That went up, I think, 10 minutes after I dropped the episode.
All right, mate. Fair enough. You got me red-handed. Stupidly, I thought that, I never comment on stuff, right? So I thought it would have just been, some random handle of mine. I didn't realise I was fucking going to say Aaron Ball 028. I just wanted to give us a bit of love, get a few comments early. When you get one comment, you get more. But yeah, I put my hand up. Oh, that's fair shade. Probably that's a little bit head wobble that.
And then, that's YouTube. That's one thing. And like we touched on, we want people to follow us on YouTube. That's great. Then I see comments popping up on Spotify. I'm like, how good. We must be getting organic comments on here. We got one comment so far. Great to see a few Aussie lads talking UFC and sport. Loved it. Aaron Ball 028.
Hey, someone's going to get some comments going, again, got me red-handed. One of the boys actually sent me that and said, come on, mate, you're taking the piss, aren't you?
As I touched on, anything we can do to bring some more traffic and more eyeballs to this show is what it's about. So it's good stuff, Paulie. I won't take the piss out of it. Maybe just change those names when you're doing that in future. That'll be the way to do it. But look, it's been a great start. Episode 1 rolled out. We spoke a lot about ourselves. Moving forward, as I touched on, there's going to be quite a few segments that we introduced to this show. We're going to do a bit of a recap on our Shade Multi from episode 1, which as of yesterday afternoon, it failed, Paulie. It failed miserably. You got 2 out of 4 legs. So today's the punishment.
I was a bit stiff. Paddy looked like he could have knocked him out. Obviously, Arsenal versus Manchester United. Arsenal right at the top. United are a basket case. Arsenal go up 2-1 or whatever it was, and then I think it was like an 80-something minute United score. So, yep, I'm doing the punishment, and I'm not happy about it because I hate chili. And apparently this is some crazy 8th hottest chili out of the whole Hot Ones challenge. So, yeah, mate, I'm not looking forward to that, but I'm a man of my word.
Love it, Paulie, love it. And for those who were really keen to see you in an Essendon scarf, head to our Instagram page at Throwing Shade Pod, because we got you in it yesterday at the Sporting Globe in the Essendon scarf, which I know burned you, but it's not going to burn as bad as this afternoon. So I'm pretty excited for the end of this show, mate, to see you nibble into a few chips with some chili on it. But look, we did get to the pub yesterday. We did go along not only to follow the Shade Multi, but yourself and I caught up, just a little bit of a celebration for getting that first episode out. But as we spoke a lot about in episode 1, UFC 324 was held. The first fight of the Paramount era dropped. Las Vegas, really big build up for this fight. Got to the fight day and it was a little bit of a different experience. It looked a bit different. Spoke a lot about last week about the Paramount experience and how it might be different to what the ESPN product was last year. But all in all, it looked pretty good to me. I thought the product came up quite well, but I mean, you had some thoughts you wanted to share on your sort of overall thoughts of the day and the UFC 324 experience?
Yeah, Tuckers. Like you said, it was a different look, and I'm throwing some shade. I hate to do it, UFC and MMA, but I'm having to throw some shade. The Paramount deal, it started a little bit shaky. First, we got the weigh-ins, Dana, where we've got a fighter passing out on the stage. Looked like he just got king hit by Justin Gaethje. And then we've got Figgy up there looking like bloody something from The Walking Dead. And then we finally get to the card. Obviously, great start. The curtain drops. Bruce announces, well played. And then, Bruce, you're a professional like me. You can't get your words wrong, mate. You gave the fighters the wrong names on the biggest moment of the UFC at the Paramount deal. So, Bruce, it's a little bit of shade to you. But then we continue on. So we go into the Paramount card and we've got Waldo having a great win. And what do I see? I see a freaking Scream mask following in behind. What are we watching here? Is this Disney Plus? What are we doing here? And then we cut to an ad. How many ads, Paramount Plus? I'm paying to watch the bloody UFC, not to watch your ads. And then don't get me started, there's some more shade coming. The fight between Natalia and Rose, that was embarrassing. Everyone knew that Rose won that fight and you've given the score to Natalia. That is embarrassing and I think that's corrupt. So the shade is going out and the only thing that saved that bloody card was amazing fight between Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje. So hats off, boys, but a bit of shade, Dana, bit of shade, MMA, do better.
Love it, Aaron. Love it. You've come in very hot today. That's a great take. But yeah, look, it was a different experience. I think it's safe to say it was a bit shaky. But look, all in all, there's some new fight bonuses and things like that which were announced on the day, which I think really added to the card. There was, if you're watching the prelims and the early prelims, it was clear that people were trying to go for finishes, I thought. The main event was a bit indifferent. I thought Gene Silver and Arnold Allen, I thought it was a great fight. I think we saw a really high level competitor in Gene Silver. I think it's proven that he is a real contender in the featherweight division. Yeah, I think they completely fucked up the Rose and Natalia decision. I agree with you on that one. Waldo and Derek. Derek, that was an odd look. What happened to the big fella? He went down with a simple jab that I don't even think would have floored you, boys. So he went down super easy, which I don't think was a great look. Sugar, controversial. We'd love to see that man with a win because he's a huge name in the sport and like what he's going to bring to the conversations for the next few months about does he get to fight Piotr Jan at the White House? Is it Marab? Who does Sugar fight next? It's going to be a big talking point now, but that first round, how do you weigh takedowns? I think Song very clearly had an argument to say he won that first round, but hey, it was a unanimous decision that they gave to Sugar. All the post-show analysis seemed to be okay with it being Sugar's decision, but we disagreed with it on the day. I know that. Big fight.
Big time. I thought that when we're in the pub, I was honestly thinking that Song Yudong was winning, right? He took him down. He was landing cleaner shots. It looked like he was throwing more venom. I felt that Sugar was, he was getting in, he was getting out. He wasn't really being that offensive. And he wasn't that attacking. And yeah, maybe he landed the cleaner shots. And I guess after watching it, the replay, I probably would give him 1 and 3. So yeah, he probably did win. But I don't know, just being at that pub and the reaction of the pub, you were there, that it was a cheat, but I think Sugar's back. He's going to need to do a lot better than what he did to beat Jan or even if they give him Marab, but I was a little bit dicey on the decision being there live.
Yep, fair call. But look, we just got to clearly touch on Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett, because that was box office. I think they would have been very happy with the product that they actually got from that fight, because it was a little bit unknown, with Justin, what sort of Justin Gaethje we were going to get. Now that he's sort of 37 years old, he's only fought twice in the past 2 years. Does he still have those killer blows, that killer mindset, that just step forward at all costs type of mindset, which he really did. And it was very clear from the opening round that this was didn't look like the best Justin Gaethje we'd ever seen, but he was very much dialed in and there to win. Paddy, I don't think lost any plaudits. I think he had a real crack, showed he's got a chin. I thought some of his kicks and knees were really effective, but I think ultimately it's just a reminder that the old guard is still here from some respects, and some of these new wave of fighters coming through have still got some challenges in guys like Justin Gaethje. But yeah, look, Justin gets that fight against Ilya later this year. I don't know that version of Justin beats Ilya, but I'm more excited actually, to be completely honest, about what happens with Paddy next, because there's a range of options for him. We're going to talk about Dan Hooker and BSD coming up at UFC 325. I think Paddy v Dan Hooker is a great matchup for him next. I think Paddy is he's got a really good chance of winning that fight. I think he should win. I think that's a really good option for him. But yeah, endless opportunities for Paddy Pimblett, I would have thought, Bally.
Yeah, exactly right, Tuckers. So I obviously, as I said, I think it saved the card. It was pretty average. Derek Lewis, that was abysmal. Like you talk strong and you do your 215 grip test, and you come out there saying you're going to knock him out in the first round. He went down, like you said, a sack of potatoes. Like, Waldo is a good fighter, but he made him look like bloody, Justin Gaethje in there. Obviously, the Silver fight, he's a nutter, trying to surf on his back. I'm not sure, that's the most respectful thing in the world. But, he showed that he's got the tricks to be, a contender. And then, like you said, Paddy Pimblett, as much as he didn't win, Tuckers, I think he kind of won in my eyes, because I always thought maybe he was a little bit gifted and they've given him, a title challenge on a silver platter. But what he did to just go head to head, he said he wanted to scrap, and that's exactly what he did. He didn't try and take him down. He didn't try and submit him. He stayed toe-to-toe with one of the best strikers in the UFC. And like you said, for Gaethje, like, what an animal. The bloke, literally, no one gave him a chance but you, and he was just on him from moment one. There was times he got rocked, he cleaned himself up, got back, was just putting the pressure on Paddy the whole time. But for Paddy to not get knocked out, like he said, I'm a Scouser lad, you don't knock Scousers out, and he was actually right. Hats off to you, Paddy. But like you said, Gaethje, I don't think he's going to come anywhere near Ilya, and there's going to be a fair beatdown, I reckon.
Yeah, we spoke a lot about that fight last week, but I just couldn't believe it. $2.85 for Justin Gaethje. Paddy's never fought anyone of that ilk, and he's never come close to a fighter like Justin Gaethje. So, show that the old boys still got it. Overall, I still really enjoyed the day. I thought it was a good card. I think they really saved by that main event. I think you touched on some of the quirkiness about some of the things that they did with the new Paramount rollout. Do you notice they fucking had Travis Barker and Blink-182 in every aspect that they possibly could for the build up to the fight and the actual broadcast itself? Well, that was a bit weird. Like, I like Blink, and like, Travis Barker's a pretty cool dude. It was a bit in your face though, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, like, it was very in your face. There was a lot of stuff in your face. Like this, I said, the Scream mask, Blink-182. Like, what connection does that have? And, even the song they played, like, Met a Girl at the Rock Show, what does that have to do with UFC? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many other songs they could have chose. So I thought that was a little bit, how you going? But I also want to throw a little bit of mini shade at you, Tuckers. So I'm throwing shade at the Tucker bags. There's only a mini shade, but we're at the pub. We're watching the big card. I say to Tuckers, listen, when Paddy Pimblett comes out, I'm going to start the "Oh, Paddy the Baddie" chant, right? He goes, yep, no worries, that'll be awesome. So then Paddy's coming out, I look around, Tuckers is nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen. It's just me and a few other lads. Anyway, he finally comes back with his beer, and I start the chant, "Oh, Paddy the Baddie." Not anything. He's sitting there like a little child, not even saying a blip. And the other guy's trying to join in, and I got a little table over here joining in. I'm smacking the table, trying to make a viral moment for this podcast. And where's our fearless leader, Tucker Bags? Quiet as a mouse. Went into his shell, too afraid to I don't want to feel awkward. I don't want to feel cringe. Do it for the podcast, Tuckers. Like, yes, you're the editor-in-chief. Yes, you're the production king. But we need more from you, Tucker Bags. I'm not happy. And that's a little mini shade at you. Lift, mate. We want better.
Yeah, fair enough, Paulie. I think that was a bit of a stitch up that we threw at you, mate. I think, me and one of the boys who was with us, we had a bit of a chat and say we're not doing that when you dropped the word to us. But I wasn't expecting the tears that fucking came from you after I didn't do it. You cracked the sads, that's for sure. Buddy, you wanted to go home, mate. After that, you were done.
Wasn't happy, and maybe it's my time of the month. I'm not sure. I'm a little bit emotional at the moment.
And you fucking sacked the Sporting Globe after that. You said this is a shit crowd. They don't want to get around it.
I'm sorry, Sporting Globe. I'm sorry. I was just a little bit. I hadn't had much sleep. I was out the night before. I'm not sure if I'm Arthur or Martha at the moment. I'm just trying to figure out my bearings. Apologies.
Oh, good. But look, that is a great wrap of week 1 and episode 1. Let's go eyes forward, Bally, because we have a huge week in the world of combat sports here in Australia. This podcast is going to be beyond just combat sports. We know that, but we cannot spend today's episode without spending a great deal of time on the card that's coming up in Sydney this Sunday here in Australia, February the 1st, January 31st over in the States. We've got UFC 325 at the Kudos Bank Arena in Sydney. We've had a couple of Sydney cards over the past couple of years that I don't think have quite met the mark of what the Aussie MMA fans are looking for. Every time that they announce one of these Sydney cards, it's can we get a Robert Whittaker on there? Can we get a JDM on there, which we have before? But it's always been, can we get Volk in Sydney? That is what we want. The man is from New South Wales. He has fought in Sydney before, but he has never defended a belt in Sydney. He won that belt back against Diego last year. What a perfect bloody opportunity for him to defend the belt on home soil, in his backyard, against a guy he already monstered and beat last year. Fucking it. If you can't tell, I'm pumped already. Got the Volk shirt ready to go. I'm flying up to Sydney this week for work purposes, but coincidentally, I'm going to be there when the fight's on this weekend. I'm going to get into the fight. I just can't wait, Bully. How are you feeling about this weekend?
Yeah, Tuckers, you couldn't have nailed it anymore. And in honour of the great man Volk and the fact that it's Australia Day week, I've got the old Aussie hat with the corks. I'm pumped, mate. As you've probably seen, I wouldn't say me and Volk are mates, but I've met him a couple of times. I've had a couple of great yarns with him. He's just a salt-of-the-earth guy, just so nice. I met his dad. His dad's a legend as well. And I just think what he's done for the sport has been incredible. Probably one of the best pound-for-pound fighters we've ever seen. He pretty much almost put us back on the map after we had, Robert Whittaker and a few others dropped off. I think he'll go down as a future Hall of Famer. And I'm so excited, mate, that we finally get to see him. Hopefully it's not his swan song and he's retiring. Hopefully he's got a couple more left in him. Unreal, Bully. But look, we're going to touch a little bit more on Volk and spend a bit more time on him. But I do just want to run through the main card, the main 5 fights, because there is a very heavy Aussie focus on the whole of UFC 325 and even on the prelims. But it's a pretty good card. I think it's better than the quality we've had in the past couple of years fighting in Sydney. So, just kicking it off from the entry part of the main event, we've got Quillan Salkield fighting Jamie Mullarkey, 2 Aussies. Quillan is a really hot prospect at the moment. He had a great 2025. I think he had 3 wins, including just a vicious head kick knockout in the late stages of 2025. $1.13 Quillan taking on Jamie at $6.05. I think Jamie's a bit older. Jamie's been around a fair bit longer, but he doesn't probably have any of that killer instinct that Quillan has. I think the odds are pretty reflective of what's going to happen in this fight. Jamie's coming in off late notice because there was someone pull out, but it's very clear the UFC wanted Quillan to be fighting on this card in the back door in Australia. You got some thoughts on this fight? What do you think? Yeah, exactly right, Tuckers. So Jamie's a vet. He's been beat up. I'm not sure he's got the chin anymore. He's a great replacement. It's great to have two Aussies on the card, but yeah, I think Williams is just going to be too good for him. He's like you said, he's an up and comer. He's a future, top 10, top 15 fighter. He's great on his feet. He can knock you out, which he's shown recently that he's got that power. I think he's just going to be too nimble, too young, and I think it's just going to be a one-sided fight, to be honest. And hats off to you, Jamie. You've been a battler, but you're going down, and I'm saying KO.
KO, nice. Yeah, I'm going Quillen via KO as well. Lightweight fight. I failed to mention that earlier, but yeah, it's a great way to kick off the main card with a really exciting, in particular, prospect. But we're moving on to a couple of guys who are a little bit more well known, or one in particular here in Australia. We've got some heavyweights for the next fight in the UFC 325. We've got Tai Shui Tuivasa, $3.52. Would you believe it? Taking on Taliesin Teixeira, $1.30. The big boys, Tai is coming off 5 consecutive losses, I believe it is now, but yeah, he's had some runs throughout his career. He's had some really good moments. It's been a couple of years now since he's been really up and going and really humming and really firing, but Taliesin Teixeira, I think, is a little bit of an unknown. He's someone that the UFC really tried to pump up over the past couple of years, and they gave him a main event against Derek Lewis last year, and he got chinned. So I don't think he's that great, to be honest, but Ty's not in his best shape right now, is he, Paulie?
Exactly right, Tuckers. I think Tai, I love you, mate, and you've been awesome. Nothing better than seeing you do a shoey and getting the crowd up and about. We forget that he knocked out Lewis, and obviously Lewis knocked out Double T, so you can make your comparisons there. But from what I've seen of the big fella Tai, I think he was 400 pounds. He's ballooned out. He's a big boy now. I don't think he's right in anymore. I think this might just be a bit of a paycheck for the big fella. I'm just worried that this could be very one-sided. I think Tai is going to be in a world of pain. You're right. Double T isn't, maybe he's not the best, but 6'5", 83-inch reach. I think he's going to cause him a lot of trouble, and I think it might just be maybe the last fight for the big fella. But as you said, it's heavyweights. Anything can happen. Ty still got those big hands, and he can bang. So, Ty, for you, mate. In honour of the great man, I'm going to do a shoey for you, Tai. I think it's going to be your last fight. But we love you, mate. You've brought a lot of fun to the sport. And this one goes out to you, great man.
Was not expecting this. Well-wee.
This for you, Tai. Good luck, mate. Here's the memories.
That looks so painful.
Oh, not bad. Sorry about that, everyone.
Well done, boy. That is a great tribute to Big Tai Tuivasa. Look, all I'll say about Tai is, he's one of the real big name Aussie fighters who's been in the UFC for the past 6 or 7 years. He's had some great wins. I think we just got to remember it's 5 consecutive losses, but it's for the best of the best in that time, because he had that run where he got right to the top end of the rankings. I think he lost, what did he lose to? Sergey Pavlovich, Cyril Gane. Who else has he lost to after that? Alexander Volkov. Rosenstrike, he's losing to some good fighters. It's heavyweights, anything can happen. He catches the big fella with an elbow across the top like he used to do. He can hurt him. There's just that much weight behind him that, anything could happen. So I'm with you as well, Bally. Let's go Big Tai Tuivasa. But look, following on from that, we're going to move into the top 3 fights, and we're going to move through these relatively quickly, Bally. But we've got what should be a really exciting fight in the third fight down the line. We've got Rafael Fiziev at a $2.02 taking on Maurizio Aruffi, $1.82. One of the old fighting nerds, or a former fighting nerd. Should be an exciting, entertaining, striking fight, this one. Should be on the feet. However, if it's not, I think Rafael does have a good ground game as well if he does want to take the fight to ground. But I think Rafael at $2.02 presents great value again. We saw him against Justin Gaethje last year in Justin's one and only fight, and it was a slugfest. We saw Rafael come away from that with bloodied up face, and I think we thought he was quite a way away from those top end of the rankings in the lightweight division, but we just saw what Justin did to Paddy Pimlet, right? So Maurizio Ruffi is coming off a loss to BSD over in France last year, so there was a lot of hype behind him before that. He really wants to win. He's changed up all his training regime I've been following. He's left the fighting nerds. He's been over in Thailand. He's come to Australia. He's fighting with Volk. And what's interesting, an interesting fact I heard about that is actually that Rafael Fiziev is also very heavy in training in Thailand, and he's trained a lot with Volk. So Ruffi has come to Australia. He's now training with Volk, and they suspect obviously getting a lot of tips on Rafael. So a lot of interesting dynamics to that fight. You got any thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think the thing with Rafael is the fact that I think he's copped a bit of damage. He's now, he's coming back from ACL, so he's not the fighter he used to be. Obviously, he's got kind of that great Muay Thai background. He can stand, but as you saw in the Gaethje fight, he knows how to throw him, but he doesn't actually know how to get out of the way of some of these shots. So I think Maurizio is going to cause him a lot of pain, and it's going to be a very exciting fight. The other factor, like you mentioned, is Maurizio is training. He's already in Australia, so there's no jet lag. So Rafael's coming from another country. He's going to be jet lagged. Obviously, he's not as young as Maurizio as well. So I think that he's going to be too good on his feet, too good a striker, and I think Maurizio Rufio is going to get the win via KO, Tuckers.
Right. So, well, there you go. We disagree on that one. I am going Rafael Fiziev by KO. So, there you go. There's a little bit of a difference in our tips this week, Paulie, once again. But look, takes us to the co-main event of the evening. We've got another lightweight contest. We've got Dan the Hangman Hooker coming in at $3.21, taking on Benoit Saint-Denis at $1.35. Two very violent men, two guys who love to scrap. You'd suspect it's going to be a stand-up striking affair. However, Benoit is certainly known for his grappling and his wrestling, and that's his strength. I think most likely outcome here is, and I guess what I'll be tipping is a BSD submission. I think he'll take Dan down eventually and submit him, but I think he's going to try and stand with him early because he's got that in him. He loves the dogfight. He does love to stand and bang. We know that's what Dan's got. We know that Dan doesn't like getting taken down. We saw that against Armin last year. It's just not his strength and not what he's there for. So I think we'll see some action early in the fight. I think BSD could probably end it pretty early if he really went out hard and really tried to submit Dan early. But I think we'll get it into the second, maybe the third round. But yeah, my tip's going to be a BSD submission. Let's go round 3. About you, Bolly?
Yeah, to be honest, Tuckers, BSD, he's the more complete fighter. He's just come off a massive win against Darush where he looked incredible. I'm a bit like you. I can see him just running straight through Hooker. Hooker, we love you, mate. But, he copped a lot of damage last time. I'm surprised he's even ready to fight. I think he's just not quite in that top echelon of fighters where I think BSD is one of those up-and-comers. He's going to be a top 5, top 10 fighter, and I think his grappling's going to cause him trouble. And a bit like you, I can either see him clocking him with a KO or a submission. I think Hooker's got no chance, to be honest. But we love you, Dan Hooker. You're a legend, and would love to see a great performance. But yeah, I'm going PSD.
Yep, I agree, Bally, and yeah, big shout out to Dan the Hangman. He's brought a lot of entertainment to us boys over it. Even the 1 minute scraps. You following that? The 1 minute scraps on his Insta channel.
Mate, they're incredible.
That's just fucking nuts.
It brings me back to the old bum fights. Remember those?
yeah.
It's crazy to watch, and hats off to him. He's trying something outside of UFC. So
just all the big fellas over in New Zealand getting into a backyard, scrapping it out for 10K. It's just awesome, and only someone like Dan Hooker would think of something like that.
Wouldn't be like a Kiwi to get in a scrap, would it?
No, definitely not. But look, takes us into the main event of the evening. I guess the reason why a lot of people will be tuning into UFC 325, we've got Alexander the Great Volkanovski coming in at $1.64 favourite, taking on Diego Lopez, $2.26 outsider. It's a rematch from a fight we saw last year, a fight that doesn't make sense to a lot of people in the UFC community. A lot of people are surprised that Diego got this rematch when there's some pretty other worthy contenders out there. I was surprised that Diego got got the call up for this. But I think, like you touched off at the start, a bit of an element to he's a very marketable fighter. Start of the Paramount deal, second week in, and they wanted a big fight for here in Australia. And I think traditionally we've probably struggled to bring some big names across here to fight in Australia. I know we could have definitely got Volk v Lerone Murphy. We could have got Volk v Movsar Evloev, but I don't reckon it's the draw card the UFC wanted for these first couple of weeks in the Paramount deal. Diego's got a huge Brazilian following, a very attractive style of fighter. He's a striker, good looking dude, and it was a really good fight in the first take last year. Give us your thoughts on the fight itself, Paulie. We're gonna get into Volkanovski, the man, but let's just talk about the fight matchup for now.
Yeah, Tuckers, exactly right. Like, it's the matchup no one asked for, but we've got it. I wouldn't say I'm angry. Obviously, love watching my boy Volk fight, but it is starting to feel a little bit that, Volk, he's starting to talk about retirement, what's left to do. He's cleaned out the division. Is he as hungry as a Lopez that's now, he's gone away, he's had a training camp, he's able to make those changes. He's got the ability with his jiu-jitsu to cause a lot of problems for Volk. And Volk got him last time, but I'm a little bit worried that maybe Lopez is going to be a little bit quick for him. The age as well. He's getting a bit old in the tooth, the big Volk. We love you, mate. And you're Alexander the Great for a reason. But I'm a little bit worried that Lopez is going to knock him out. So it might spoil the Aussie party, but Lopez is hungry. He doesn't actually go to decision that much. So if he does win generally, it's via KO. So I'm going to, unfortunately, go for Lopez, but I'd love Volk to prove me wrong.
You're tipping Diego Lopez to knock out Volk.
I know.
Fuck me. This is the man who's got Volk plastered over his whole Instagram. You're going against the man.
Volk, please forgive me, mate. I love you, mate. You're one of the best blokes I've ever met. But if you want me to go with my heart or my head, my heart says Volk. I'd love him to knock him out, to show why he's the greatest pound-for-pound fighter, to get another fight, maybe go up a weight class and have that legacy fight and show, what he can do. But if you're asking me my brain and my tipping brain, I'm going to unfortunately have to say Lopez.
Nah, that's all good, Paul. We want you to be honest. We want to get the real insights out of you, man. But look... The fight last year was a great fight. Let's look back to it, because a lot of judges had that fight 4-1 for Volk. Went to a decision. It was a unanimous decision victory. I probably had it 3-2. I think Diego did enough to keep the fight close and entertaining. Nearly took out Volk early in the fight. He did knock him down. It was either at the end of round 1 or the end of round 2. Did knock Volk down. I think he was a bit cautious, Diego. I don't think he let the full version of himself out. I think he was waiting for an opening for a lot of the fight. But the reality is Volk is just such a good controlling fighter. Like, he just controls the cage. He controls space. His kickboxing IQ is just on another level. He just feints so well. He's just such a smart fighter. I just think I looked at that fight and I just thought he's such a smart fighter. I think he's got the knowledge that he's had 25 minutes with Diego, that he's just so well coached. He's been doing it for so long that I think he can win again. I can't see Volk KOing him or ground and pounding him and getting him out of there like he used to do to blokes, but I think Volk will come through with a decision victory again in my mind. I'm going to go the great man Volk. Let's go a split decision victory. I think we're going to see a great fight. I think we're going to get to a decision, and I think Volk's going to take it home, because just a smart fighter. He's going to control the cage again. He strikes. And I think he's just going to be in Diego's head, hopefully anyway, after that first fight.
Let's hope so, Tuckers. I want him to win more than anyone, all right? I consider him a mate. Not quite. And we want you on the pod, Volk. So once your storied career is finished, whether it's after this fight or 1 or 2 more fights, we want you on the pod. He's a great man. He's got a lot going on in his life outside of UFC. He's got his cooking channel. He's got his podcast. So we'd love Volk on the pod. So let's hope Volk wins, but my tipping brain says not.
Yeah. All good. Well, yeah, look, he's just such a likable guy, isn't he? Like, he's really, I've been listening to some clips this week, and he has really won over the American fans as well, which is something that a lot of Aussie fighters really struggle to get into that market and become real popular household names over there. Yeah, his cooking content he puts out there has really brought him into being a household name over there. He's just such a likable guy that, it'd just be great to see him. And there's a part of me that thinks it'd be good for the division if Diego gets the belt and opens up a lot of new opportunities. And you know my thoughts. I've got a few mates in particular that really disagree with me on this one, but I want to see Volk go up to lightweight again and get a win up there because I think he can. I think he can take out a lot of those top 10 fighters. We know he can beat Max. I'd love to see a fight with him next year as a swan song where he does go up and have a fun legacy fight like he touched on. So, yeah, he's hoping that we see a really good performance on Sunday, Bally. I think I asked you, mate, that I'll just quickly go through as well. Did you? We had a bit of a think about some of the best Volk moments that we've had throughout our time watching the great man. Yeah, you got any just memories in particular that stand out from your end, from fighting perspective for the great Volk?
Yeah, well, like I said, we've had so many great times. We've been at the pub and, you know, Volk has just put on an absolute show. It's probably that Perth card where, you know, he looked like maybe with 30 seconds to go, he's on top, the ground and pound. You know, is he going to get the win? The pub went wild. He didn't quite get the win, but it was such a valiant effort. Obviously loved the last one, which was when he won the title back. And no one thought, you know, everyone was like, oh, he's past it. He's no good, and then to come out there and just put that show on and obviously regain the title, that was one of the all times. You know, his fights with Holloway, like where do I? There's so many Tuckers. What about you? What are your top couple?
Yeah, I'll give you my top 5 just very quickly, and I won't spend too much time on them. But I've gone in order from Let's go first. So the very first Max fight, I think, was a really big standout highlight for Volk because proved he was the real deal. Max was it was an absolute tear at that point. I think we were going back to 2018, 19 sort of time period. Volk had hair at that point, would you believe? So that first Max fight where he shocked the world and got the belt, special moment. Then when he started solidifying some unreal title defenses, I always go back to that Brian Ortega victory where the stranglehold that fucking would have killed any man on this planet besides Volk would have taken Brian. I saw Brian commenting during the week that he still to this day does not know how Volk got out of the stranglehold he had him in. Like for someone,
nuts. Yeah, it was like a boa constrictor. It was just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Yeah. And Volk's head was getting redder and redder, and then all of a sudden you could just see that Ortega just had nothing left in his arms. Yeah. And then little Volk's head pops out, and he's done it. And then it was amazing. Yeah,
I'm gonna go. My third favorite memory is Max number 3. So the third time he fought Max, because the second fight against Max had a bit of controversy. He got the decision victory, but a lot of the commentators, a lot of people thought Max actually should have won that fight. But number 3 was definitive. It was clinical. One of his great title defenses and one of his great performances. I'm going to go number 4 favorite memories when he reclaimed the belt last year against Diego. Just a beautiful day at the pub, Bally, with all the boys watching that, seeing the look in Volk's eyes when he got the belt wrapped around him for the second time, and sort of touched on that adversity is a privilege. I think it was a really memorable and iconic moment. So that's a great memory, but you touched on it. Nail on the bloody hammer, mate. That fight in Perth v Islam, who would have thought the best Volk memory would be a loss for him? But what a performance against one of the greatest we've ever seen in the UFC, Islam Makhachev. Nearly had him at the end. The pressure that he finished with coming home strong in that fight. Just a great afternoon. And yeah, probably I think Volk's best performance, ironically, of his career. But let's get behind the man. It's going to be a big afternoon Sunday. We are really behind you, Volk. We're rooting for you, brother. Go get him. That's what you get, mate. This tipping comp that we're doing, it's real stuff. There's real punishments attached to it. There's real prizes attached to it as well. So I'm glad you let the audience in on that one, Bally. But yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. But look, we're coming towards the end of the show, but we do quickly want to recap and do a new shade multi, because we remember what happened last week. We remember that the multi didn't get up, and we are going to quickly touch on shortly about what the punishment is that you have to do again, Bally, and it's going to be filmed in a few minutes. It's not far away, Bally. That hot sauce is coming onto your lips, mate. But we do have a great event in UFC 325, which I touched on, where there's some great value, some great betting options. What are we going for the Shade Multi this week?
Yeah, so Bally Shade Multi is coming up. Unfortunately, I got a little bit ahead of myself. I went with Paddy. He let me down, but it was a great fight. Arsenal shit the bed, so embarrassing. You're at the top of the table and you lose to United, who have just been a basket case, so thanks for that. And as you touched on, I will be doing the bomb sauce, so that I can't wait for that. That's going to be awesome. But my multi this time, Tucker Bags, is we're going to start it off, as I said, I think Lopez gets the job done. So I'm going to go KO Lopez. Then I think a big Tui Devasas are going to get absolutely destroyed. So double T, I'm just going to have, I'm going to go knockout or TKO. I think he's just going to absolutely monster him.
For double T.
Taliesin. Yeah,
gotcha.
Taliesin.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's just that's the easiest one on the card. I'm then going to go to my boy Mauricio Rufio, just as a straight up win, and then let's round it all off with I've got I think BSD I'm going to just say win to go safe, but I think that's going to be the multi. There's a few there that could cost me, but I'm pretty confident, and you'll find out what the punishment is on the socials.
Love it, Bally. Love it. Well, look, that is a great insight and a great look at what's to come for the week of fights ahead this week. So I think that takes us to the end of episode 2, Bally. How'd you feel we went this week? We any better, worse, same? What's the feels?
No, I think we're a bit more natural this time. I feel a little bit less pressure. I'm still probably swinging in my seat. I need to learn to stop doing that. But I think it was good. Hats off to you, mate, with all the editing. I've had a lot of feedback on the edits on YouTube, so make sure everyone watches YouTube as well as Spotify, because there's a lot of great stuff that you're doing. But mate, I feel good. I'm excited for the card. It's huge. Every Aussie needs to get to the pub, watch it, support our boy Volk, and mate, let's. I'm looking forward to the next episode, and I can't wait to eat this fucking chili.
Beautiful, mate. Beautiful. Well, look, Sunday, obviously the event's in Sydney. There are a lot of other Aussies that are fighting on the card as well. So we wish every Australian competing this weekend at UFC 325 all the best, all the success that you can have. Thank you for everyone for tuning in once again. As Bally touched on, we really need subscribers. We really need people following our content to make sure that this show has a chance of success. But really happy with how everything started. But please follow us on our social channels. You can find us on TikTok at Throwing Shade Pod. You can find us on YouTube at Throwing Shade Pod, and you can find us on obviously Instagram at Throwing Shade Pod as well. But we'd really appreciate a subscription through YouTube in particular is the one where we're going a bit of effort to do some content, Boy. We're filming obviously for YouTube, so please jump on there and subscribe if you haven't already, and you'll be first to know when new content is dropping.
And I just want to say, for the great Volk, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
Oh, he finally joined in for once. Hey, well done, Tuckers.
You can't tell he's not salty about it, can you? But, look, thanks for tuning into our content. The other thing that we're getting a few questions about, I'll just quickly touch on, Bally, is how often are we releasing episodes is a big one that I got this week. The general premise about what we wanted to do with Throwing Shade Pod is that combat sports centric, like we know, big year of UFC ahead. They do numbered events. In a normal world, there's numbered events once a month, very sort of regular cadence of once a month. We ideally thought in an ideal world that we would do one a month in the lead up to a numbered event UFC fight, but there's going to be more than that going out each month. We're going to be talking other sports. We're going to be talking AFL. We're going to be talking, NFL is not, the Super Bowl is not far away. NBA playoffs. So we're going to be talking other sports. So sort of regular cadence will be at least one a month, but there'll be other episodes dropping, ideally once a fortnight. And we'd love to get to a point where we're doing one a week at least. So keep an eye out on our channels and you'll see the next drop for episode 3. But for now, that's it for us at the Throwing Shade Pod. Thank you, Bally. I was about to say Aaron. Thank you, Bally. Thank you to everyone who supported us, and we will see you soon.
Thanks, guys, and everyone else. Don't forget, Bally's still got the challenge starting in February. I'm doing the 11 kilos in 11 weeks. So tune in, regular updates. You'll see me go from lard ass to Mr. Handsome six-pack. So tune in.
Love it. Love it. Peace. See you later,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys. Yo!